had to end it with that weird sharp 11 Lydian just to make everyone go,
oh,
what's happening?
What's happening here? Yes, they all woke up, didn't they? Like, excuse me, there's another Andertons video.
Man, you sound amazing as always.
Man, don't be silly.
12
you
years
sound
later,
crazy.
and you're just
well, that's why
it.
I thought we were going to go. Who remembers this? And then, last weekend, now we have this. So, yeah,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's so lovely to see you again.
It is, man. It's
slightly
great to see you.
surreal. Probably for both of us. Definitely surreal for me, but I think probably still slightly surreal for you as well.
Yes. It is.
We can talk not only about obviously your wonderful new guitars and guitar playing and journeys and all that kind of stuff. We can talk, what was it like to do some shows with Mastodon, not least the Sabbath gig. So, I mean, let's come on. Everyone, I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to know about the guitars and stuff, but really, I suspect everyone's going, tell us how I can get into a band like Mastodon, please, Nick.
Oh my gosh.
How does that happen?
Yeah, that's I suppose right now, when it comes to if anyone's interested in what I'm doing, that's probably the burning question. How did it all happen? And you can find out on my new web series. Just kidding.
Absolutely. On Netflix.
$24.99 a month. No. I it is sort of kind of seemingly unexpected, as I'm not really known as a metal guy. But fun fact, Mastodon was always my favorite band. The way I think of it is I've had two really clunky cars in my life. I no longer own a car because I live in Toronto and there's nowhere to park. But I've had two pieces of garbage cars, and both of them, I had a 96 Pathfinder. Blood Mountain lived in that car for the entire duration on CD too. Because
you can say on tape.
No,
you go really back, like, you know.
It might have been a 97 because I think that's when the CD player. Anyway, and then I had a 2003 Corolla, and the Hunter lived in that when I finally got the car in like 2011 when that record came out. So I mean, I was a Mastodon fanboy, as you could say. I was and still am. Yeah, I had met Braun over the years, and through happenstance and meeting people and having a reputation, and I got this phone call, and I said, of course, where do you need me? I'll be there as soon as I can, and we hung out, and it was just this great kind of bonding moment, and it just seemed like a really cool fit, and within a month we were on the road.
That is crazy.
It was. I mean, it's still crazy. It's still something I'm.
Were there many?
Figure out.
Was it? I mean, did you have to get up to sort of band chops with all the songs, or is it one of those bands where you're just going, oh yeah, another one of my favorite tunes?
Well,
that
that's what's so interesting. Is I'm kind of ashamed to say this. I wasn't really, and I think I told you this even years ago when we first got together. I'd never really learned how to play other people's music. Not because I think it's a bad idea. It's just I didn't have when I was really getting into playing guitar. I didn't have the internet, so there was no resources, and I just didn't think I would be able to play the stuff. Even now, I try to play other people's stuff, and I can't seem to do it. Either it's my left-hand dominant guitar playing or whatever. But when I was asked if I'd be interested to do this, I promptly learned about 30 or 40 songs from them. I just digested.
So I've only seen the 15 minutes or so that you did on at the Sabbath show. And look, I'm first to confess, I don't know all the Ozzy and Sabbath kind of stuff. But it felt like you'd been given license in Mastodon. I mean, I appreciate you were doing a cover of a not, it wasn't a Mastodon song, but it felt like you were allowed to be you playing the solo parts.
Yeah, well, the Supernaut solo is sort of an interesting beast. If you take that guitar solo and compare it to millions of other guitar solos, it's sort of an anomaly because it's very aggressive, and it's kind of impossible to replicate that solo. And believe me, I tried. I think that solo is a very cocaine-fueled fever dream, I assume.
Maybe.
Perhaps. You listen to it, it's just sort of this frantic, attack on the instrument, and I did my best to kind of quote some of the Iommi trills and some of the Iommi-isms, but ultimately there's just no way I could play that solo. So, I knew about the gig for a while, so I kind of laid in bed, awake at night for months, thinking about it. What am I going to do? Am I going to get skewered by the fans of Black Sabbath if I play things a little differently? And ultimately, when the time came down to it, in front of that, 40,000 people and the endless amount of people that were streaming it, which I was of course aware of. And as I was playing the solo, playing the song, I look back and I see pretty much everybody that was at the event watching us, because we opened the show.
Yeah.
I was like, it's time to shut the brain off. And no matter what I prepared, it doesn't matter. Just go and do the thing. And I'm new to this world, so it's kind of like, I think the more I would have, gone in with a plan and gone in really hyper focused on something, it just wouldn't have been authentic, as in just go up and feel it and do what's sort of right in the moment. And as I played the solo and finished and came off, and there was this drum break with Danny Carey and Mario and Eloy, I was like, I don't even know what I played. I have no idea what just happened.
Well,
I have no clue.
Because I just thought it was, I thought it felt very authentically you, which I guess leads on to that. Do you have an idea, or have you been given sort of license within the Mastodon shows to be you, like as in it's like, or is there? Does it still feel like, no, I have to literally note for note do what? Has been done before,
And it's a difficult question, because Brent is irreplaceable. He's one of one. Mm-hmm. I know his guitar playing very well. He has a singular voice, and there's just no way I can do what he does. Mm-hmm. He's that guy. So I try to do my best to quote the sort of famous lines and the important parts of the solo. And again, because I'm the newest person on stage in that band, there was also this energy that happens in front of these crowds that you kind of can't pin yourself down. It's just like, what's going to happen is going to happen. I do my best to sort of have the architecture of the solo and follow this brilliant work he laid down. But ultimately, I just cannot play. I can't play like that. It's not in my either muscle memory or my ear. So I of course I appreciate, and I've grown up with his guitar playing, but I'm just sort of doing my best to fill that gap.
Which I think is kind of like, you want that. I think there's a certain amount of that. It must be wonderful to work with the rest of the guys in Mastodon who have just given you license to go add your flavour to it. Which I think is super cool, and a compliment to you as well.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're amazing mentors and kind of older brothers in this, and I've had a lot of fear and doubt, and I've tried to avoid the internet because of what's probably being said, which it is what it is. You can't win, but I'm doing my best. He was a brilliant guitar player in that band, and I'm like I said, I'm trying to check the boxes, but also be myself, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially when there is that high bar of what he did, his playing and his tone and his sound. So I'm just kind of doing the best I can, I guess. And anybody in that position, it's all you can do. It's really all you can do.
I think sometimes when sort of iconic band members ultimately, choose not to do something anymore or whatever, however it pans out, I quite often feel like the original guys of the band tell the new guy to can you just stand at the back for the first few years, please? Maybe we'll let. But it didn't feel like that at all for you. It's just like, it's just like, no, there you go. You're playing all the parts. You're right at the front. You're getting a name check in the.
Yeah, that was really nice. It was really nice. Yeah, I think ultimately the reason why I was asked is because of who I am. They could have had. Let's be honest. They could have got anybody. Anybody could have been asked and said yes. But I think I was chosen maybe because of the way I do play guitar. And it is still early days in this, so if I decide ultimately I want to play his solos note for note, maybe that's something that will happen. But I'm just kind of doing what I do and being as respectful, and I know how intense the fandom is around this band too. So I'm just sort of doing my best to toe that line as much as possible.
whilst everything is so fresh in the memory, what was the pinch yourself moment from Saturday?
Yeah, from Saturday. Well, the first moment was the day prior. We were all the bands were allowed to go in and do a 1 hour sound check, and I think that was partly because everybody just wanted to get eyes on the place and just like look around and be like, okay, I can, okay, good, you know, just to even be on that stage to just feel okay a little bit. I mean, we were all up there looking around like, as long as we can just run the songs once, we can sleep tonight, you know. So for me, it was walking up, and I had just listened to on the previous tour we had done in the summer or in the spring with Coheed and Cambria. I had listened to on audiobook the Geezer Butler book, where he talks, because I was like, I really want to get into these guys even more.
You've been doing the Sabbath gig for months.
For a long
right?
time,
so,
yeah.
Okay, so you have plenty of time to mentally prepare and scare the shit out of yourself
exactly.
at the same time. Yeah.
To go into the void, if you will.
Absolutely.
So I listened to Geezer's book, and he was talking a lot about how he grew up as a kid going to Villa Park to watch Aston play, and just hearing him explain how important this place is. Because I'd never seen it. I didn't know what it looked like, or I didn't even know how big the gig was going to be. In my mind, I originally thought it was just going to be in like Glastonbury, like a giant field, because that's the amount of people it would probably demand. So there was that moment where I walked up, we parked, and then we kind of walked up, and you can see the opening, and then sort of the mouth of the stadium. And as I walked onto the stage, it was just like my whole body just, I think even my hair stood up. It was just like, and just seeing back to the beginning, back all over, and then you see the stage, and just standing on there with no instrument, just like, what the? And it's like, what is going to happen tomorrow?
I thought it was an amazingly touching choice of venue. I mean, obviously, if
oh my gosh,
you know, this
perfection
potentially doesn't translate so much to people outside of the UK, but just how important your football club is to you in your whole life. You know, and particularly if you've grown up, and Villa would have been their team, and just like it was just because you're right, they could have sold 5 times as many tickets
easily, no
but
question.
It wasn't. I just thought it was all just a genius event to just celebrate, you know, one of the most important, you know, bands of all time.
Yep.
But sorry, go on. The pinch yourself moment. There must have been one on the day.
Absolutely, I was for sure. So the set was Black Tongue, which is the opening song off The Hunter, Blood and Thunder, which is the opening song off Leviathan, and then the legendary Supernaut. Once we got through those first 2 songs, which was overwhelming enough, because, like I said, The Hunter had lived in my car for so long, this opening track. The big pinch myself moment was when I finished the Supernaut solo after I blacked out. We play the riff again, you know, that. We play that riff, and then we get off. I get out of the way, and this drum circle starts happening with Danny Carey, Eloy Casagrande from Slipknot, and Mario Duplanche from Gojira, and Braun playing. And it was supposed to be like a 6 rounds of it, but they ended up extending it. And the longer they played, the more I was able to kind of just like take a second. And they're doing this drum thing, and I kind of look at, I'm like, oh my God, we just opened the show, and we're the first ones to play a Black Sabbath cover. And then seeing everybody just, you know, like Randy Blythe was there, Dave Ellefson, you could see the Tool guys, Tom Morello was standing there just like, I'm thinking about it now, it's like, it's overwhelming. And then knowing in that moment too, like what the sort of like the history that's being made in this moment. And then I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe.
Well, that's because you mentioned some epic
oh
names.
My gosh.
There. Are you like, is there like a club? Are you like one of them now?
I don't know, because
I kind of feel like if you get the nod from Tom Morello or whatever, you know, it's like you know, in the big leagues now.
It felt because we all know Tom Morello too. It felt like I was piloting somebody else's body. I was just a consciousness that had entered this. And then, you know, he's like, oh, I really like your style, I like the way you play guitar. I'm like, okay, thank you, Mr. Morello. I like you too. Yeah, it was crazy. It was totally insane. And meeting, you know, watching Black Sabbath with James Hetfield standing beside me as he's smoking a cigar with his big cowboy hat on. It's like, this is cool. You know? Or watching Bill Ward come out But so it was a revolving stage, and whoever's playing, the other bands are getting ready, and it would just spin. Watching Bill, he gets ushered out with a couple people. He's got this little bag, and he sits down at his drum kit, and Ozzy's playing. They're doing their thing, or just wrapping up. And Bill, I see Bill. I'm just like watching him. Everyone's watching. And he's just like warming up. He's like trying the snare. He's like hitting the cymbals, and he starts playing a beat. I'm like, I'm watching Bill Ward like warm up. What is happening right now? And then Tony Iommi, I first see his tech. He's got this guitar on that's upside down, looks all weird. I'm like, that's the guitar. And then Tony comes out, of course. I'm getting chills again thinking about it. All in black with the cross, same. He looks the exact same.
He does.
He's a vampire,
yes.
I swear. Watching him walk out, it almost felt like the entire day was leading up to this like mythical. Like these guys didn't seem real by the end of the day. Like it had been built up for so long too, and you're like, oh my God, they're real, and I'm gonna get to see them play. Because we played at 1, and they were on at like 9:30 or something. So everybody, I think, was in the same boat of just this unspoken sort of like collective energy that was building and building and building. And by the time you get a glimpse at them, you're like, I can't believe this is happening. And I was a big Metallica fan too, and it was awesome seeing them, but just completely clouded by Sabbath. Just, and then watching Ozzy come out of the platform, I started crying when they did Mr. Crowley. I just couldn't help. I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's leaking, and it was so crazy, so overwhelming. But pinch me moments. I mean, I watched Brian May walk by me. I was like, that's Brian. Watching Ronnie Wood walk by. It was crazy. Everybody was a legend there, and I was just sort of the new guy invited to the party, trying not to get in anyone's way.
It'll be like, I'll see you again in another 5 years' time. Yeah. You won't be talking about James Hetfield. You go, yeah, Jim, he was there, and
Jimmy,
Jimmy
Bob was there.
Absolute Noon, God. He was, just like
that. That's so funny. But I also we to get to the stage kind of area, you could go down, and if you had the right pass, you could go through this hallway where all the other. So dressing rooms for a lot of the bands were upstairs, and then more of the legendary guys were downstairs. And I'm walking down, I had my little pass, and I'm like, I wonder if I can get through here. And I showed the lady, and she's like, yeah, come on in. I was like, and it's like Ozzy's dressing room. He had a bunch of people guarding it, and Kelly's there with her baby, and Sharon, they're talking, and there's all these people. I'm like, okay, I walk by them. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I go by, and then Braun's talking to Hetfield. I'm like, oh, there's Hetfield, okay. And I see Kirk Hammett. He's like showing Bill like a new guitar. I'm like, oh, that's Kirk Hammett. Duff is there, and I go out to the doors. I'm like, can I come in? The guy's like, yeah, come on in. I walk. I'm like, oh my God. And you go out and watch the band. It was ridiculous. It was like a dream. It was literally like a
dream.
Just like a crazy AI dream or something. Like, imagine this happening in real life, and no, it's not possible. And then walking through those hallways, and and it's weird because in the moment you can't really.
I love that Kirk Hammett was showing someone a new guitar. That's my vision of what Kirk would do. I've just got another new guitar.
I was walking with Bill, and Kirk stopped Bill. He's like, Bill, you got to come and check this guitar. And Kirk's like so excited about guitars. He's even in the middle of a photo shoot, and Bill, come in and check this guitar. They're like playing the guitar and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, see, we're all the same. We're all the same. And it was just that throughout the day. I was. This is kind of a weird story, but I was washing my hands in the washroom, and I was coming out, and someone knocked on the door, and I opened the door. It was Jakey Lee. I'm like, oh, it's Jakey Lee. Just weird stuff like that throughout the day. And
was it much cleaner than you thought it was going to be, or was there still a lot of rock and roll going on?
It was. I think these guys are a lot older now, so they're
all like popping vitamin tablets as opposed to anything else.
I think I saw, some bad knees, a lot of slow walking. But yeah, everybody was just, I think, just so happy to be there, and there was just so much to do that I think everybody had to kind of be on their top form. And it was cool. Once we got off the stage, the first thought I had is, okay, good, now another band can stress.
Must be the best. I would imagine opening it's probably the best slot, isn't it?
It was great.
Because it's like no time to really get nervous.
It was great.
And then you get to watch the rest of the show without having to worry about you going on.
Oh yeah, and just the like, because everybody was already there. It was completely filled in and packed, and there was just such an energy in the air of like, oh my God, this is about to start, and it was thick. Like, you look around and there's people running all over the place, like bands out, and the tour manager's like 2 minutes. I'm like 2 minutes. And I'm like, am I in the right place? And I get my guitar. I'm like, is it in tune? Is the tuner on stage, or what do I have to do? And then you step at it, and it's all, here we go. And then we didn't use a click or tracks for anything, so everyone just
proper rock and roll.
Boom, and we start, and it's like, oh my God. There was some kind of weird stuff that happened with the stream at the time. When we finished Blood and Thunder, it was still playing in our ears, because I guess there was like something happened with the live stream, or the way it was recorded. It was like delayed by a few seconds. So that was kind of weird, but this is a live event and there's technical difficulties, so you work through it. But it was amazing. It was everything you could have imagined it was. And once in a lifetime. Yeah,
more.
Once in a lifetime. I felt very privileged and honored to be there.
If we go back to, so what date was the first Mastodon show for you?
The first show, I believe it was May 5th or 6th or something like that. Yeah.
And we're friends, so I can ask you this.
Sure.
But that must have been a substantially bigger gig than anything you'd ever done
absolutely,
before.
Absolutely.
So what are we talking, the step up here?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff I had done, I had done pretty much the touring I had done. I did years and years of the Guitar Clinic stuff for Schecter, which I still do, and I love doing, of course. But for myself, it was my solo music. I would usually take 2 or 3 guys, and I would open for people. It was always opening, whether it was Animals as Leaders, or Periphery, or Polyphia, or Intervals, or I was always opening for instrumental bands, which is a scene. It's a very specific scene, and it's a great scene, and it's very passionate, and I love doing it, and I love releasing that music. But it's just it's a niche. It's a very niche thing, and Mastodon they have a legacy career at this point. They've got so much to do with the actual entertainment business. Like they were on Game of Thrones, or they've done music for video games or TV shows, and they've toured with Metallica, and they've done everything. They've done everything you can do. So going into it, I was like, I don't even know what these stages are going to look like. The first thing, we did a tour with Coheed in Cambria, and I remember right before I walked on stage, and I was very prepared. We did a bunch of rehearsals. The first rehearsal, I had everything ready to go if we could have just jumped on stage. I was very, very meticulous. I had it. But I remember Troy, right before he went on stage, Troy Sanders, the great Troy Sanders, he took me aside and he goes, hey, just so you know, just don't worry about it. If you screw up, don't worry about it. He's like, just have fun. He goes, if you make a mistake, we all make mistakes. It's like, who cares? There's so much going on, the video wall, the light show, there's some pyro, there's Bill's playing, I'm playing, Bron's playing, the keyboards are doing guitar parts. He's like, just have fun. I was like, oh my God, that's all I wanted to hear. It's just, it's okay. And after he told me that, it didn't matter how big the room was, because I had the blessing. Because I've had gigs.
They just say that though.
Yeah, of course.
They don't really.
Of course,
it's
yeah.
But
I've had gigs.
I know I played the whole song in the wrong key, Troy, but that's okay, right?
But I've had yeah, totally. But I've had gigs over the years, lesser known things I've talked about, where I've played with as a sideman for some pretty big acts, and I've been in the not audition, but in the rehearsal, and that movie Whiplash, my tempo and the whole drumming thing, he's screaming at him. I've been in those positions where the MD is just screaming at me, just berating me, and the rest of the band's sitting there because they've all gone through it, and they're like, oh, it's Nick's turn now, because I played a ninth, because instead of playing a G or a G, I went he's like, who played that ninth? And I'm just like, oh, I played the ninth. And just, so I've been in those positions too, where it's not okay to screw up, and everybody in the band, the lead singer and the MD have perfect pitch, so if you hit the wrong note, you'll hear about it. I mean, I was in a band with this, I don't want to drop any names, but he had such an ear, this guy, that I showed him a new song. This is when I was putting out this record called Atomic Mind, and I showed him the chords in this song on a phone in the back of the bus when we were traveling. And he heard it once, and he was like, oh, cool. And then he played it at soundcheck, the whole song. I'm like, oh my God. So I've been in the positions where it's that, but then for Troy and for the band, and even, they're just like, just have fun. No, nothing beyond that.
Presumably, I'd love to talk about how gear changes when you make that kind of a step up in terms of size and venue, but also, do you become much more conscious of your image and your stage presence when the show is that much bigger, or does it go the other way? Like, as in, if it's a smaller gig, do you feel like you have to be larger than life?
That's a good question. I've never really been that outgoing on stage. I've always been very modest, and I've always, because I've always been an opener, this sounds terrible, but I've always been in the position and mindset of, they're not here for me. They're not here for me. But
you strike me as, you're very modest about your technique and stuff. You sort of strike me as somebody who, I don't know, wants your guitar playing maybe to do the talking rather than necessary. But I guess the audience that are coming to see a Mastodon show, especially, I suppose, given the guy who you've taken their place, there's like, surely there must have been an expectation that, they want to see some big rock poses and some, they want to see the hair and
absolutely.
Did that feel uncomfortable? Did it take you a few shows to kind of feel like it's okay to do that, or?
Yeah, well, I'd seen them many times over the years, and Mastodon, in my eyes, and maybe people have different opinion, they were always a band that they stood still. Everybody stood, nobody moved.
Right.
And nobody talked. And I had always viewed them as that band. Like, they go up and play, everybody does their thing, and then they get off, and Braun comes out and he talks to the audience. But for whatever reason, the first show, I walked over to Bill and started playing with him, and he was just like, cool. And then everyone starts moving around. We're going back to back for these parts. Like, it happened very naturally with a band that I thought never did that. And even the fact of me to do that, I was like, I'm just gonna go do that. And we talked about it beforehand. It's like, Braun would be like, hey, come over and say hi to me sometimes. Like, I'm staring at everyone's butt all the time. Like, come and say hi. And yeah, I will. And then, I have little things I like to do now. Certain songs, I'll go over and do certain things. I go hang out with the keyboard player. Yeah, trying to just enjoy the moment a little bit more.
I'm showing my ignorance about Mastodon as a live band. Then I just assume, especially you see Troy. He's pretty good front guy. Like, he's got the
unbelievable.
But I had no idea that it wasn't normal for the whole.
Yeah, no. Usually they were very. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I've seen them over the years several times, and it was always the band and Braun would come out and say a few words at the end. They never talked to the audience.
Interesting.
Now there's multiple times throughout the set where he's having a conversation with the crowd, and he's kind of changing his stage presence, and yeah, it's just cool. It's great. So it's evolving very naturally, but it depends. I mean, outfit-wise, I try to pretty much wear the same thing. Sometimes I wear my hat because the hair, if I'm trying to play these solos and it gets sweaty, it ends up like a hairball in my face. So it just depends, but they're very like working class kind of jeans and a t-shirt type of thing. Braun wears a cut-off Sabbath shirt every night and shorts. So it's like somewhere in my already existing wheelhouse, and I play a Strat in the band with Bill plays very many metal guitars, and Troy has a Fender bass, and Braun has this really cool looking painted drum kit, and I just play a classic shape with these cool colors, which is kind of a nice segue into these, I guess. But ultimately, it's only been a couple months, I think, and the way things will evolve, if this is where we're at already, I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm very curious to see where
I'm sure things will work out and be amazing.
Cool.
But
Thanks,
like
Lee.
you say, great segue.
Yeah.
So for me, the constant for you in the whole time I've known you is Schecter.
The entire time, yeah.
These are new, or a big upgrade anyway. So we'll talk about these. In fact, let's start with talking about these. But I'm kind of equally intrigued as to, as a musician who's gone from doing Schecter clinics where you might turn up and 50 people have come to see you, through to playing, arenas and stadiums with roadies and you probably can't even see your backline on stage. It's so far. I'm kind of interested in the dynamic of how does that change, and how do you make sure you're still getting a tone that you like.
Right.
But come on, So the original Nick Johnston Schecter was bizarrely, I think, ended up being more famous than you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, as in,
absolutely.
The guitar became so popular and such a popular part of the Schecter lineup that I think, people discovered you through the guitar rather than the guitar through you, which doesn't happen very often.
But so strange.
This is still another Diamond Series one. So this is coming out of the Indonesian factory, but it doesn't feel at all like what even does an Indonesian guitar feel like? I feel like that's a pretty crass thing to say for all the great builders in Indonesia. But you sort of look at this and you're just going, well, surely that's something out the American lineup because it's got all the good stuff on it. But tell us
kind of
what's
a
on it.
hybrid. Yeah, we talked about this for a while, and it essentially is, although we haven't called it, I don't believe it is a 10th anniversary of the actual first guitar, which was the silver one I had, the custom shop, which is crazy to think, 10 years. And it's always more or less, since it really started picking up, it's been the same sort of spec, a Wenge neck, alder body, and usually I would have 3 single coil pickups. But using the HSS, these are now stainless steel pickups, which a lot of you asked for.
Or even stainless steel frets. Maybe stainless steel pickups. That's fine. Stainless steel pickups are a new thing.
That would actually be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which a lot of people have asked for over the years.
A lot of people.
Why aren't you using stainless steel?
I want Alnico 5 frets and stainless steel pickups all day long.
These could be all pickups, actually. We could try that. So yeah, we've switched over to those. It's essentially the same beast, just a little bit more of the higher end component, and 3, well, except for this guy, a couple new colors, and it just kind of celebrates everything I love about the guitar. And for people who had the Diamond Series who maybe couldn't afford the high price tag of the custom shop one, this is sort of the perfect guitar for you, I do believe.
So does this replace the more affordable one? So this just sits on top of?
It'll be sort of the three different tiers now.
This is great. And I think the tremolo system feels slightly upgraded.
Yep.
USA pickups. What was it with stainless steel frets? Is that something you've always had on the American one?
They were the Jeskar, the German steel ones,
right?
In the custom shop, and
is that because on a regular nickel fretted instrument, you're going through the frets, or you just prefer the sound of stainless steel? What was the draw? I found
over the years I've kind of flip-flopped back between both of them, and the stainless steel frets I found I used to kind of wear through, but I was like the feel and the sound, and it was sort of a by request type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I found, with this new model, it was sort of the perfect opening to do that. And I mean, this thing, it's right out of the box. It feels ridiculously good.
Are these ours then? These aren't 3 that you've bought?
These are yours. Yeah.
Oh man, these are literally straight out
of
the
box. Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
That is impressive.
Yeah, and they've got a good weight to them.
Come on, which serial number have you got then? So when one lucky person gets the one from this video, because I assume they'll be for sale.
All right, we got 250309333.
There you go. Well, if you got that one straight on eBay, twice as much as you paid for it.
Straight on eBay. I could have lied. Who knows?
Okay. Look, I mean, these are great, and these will be in stock in Andertons, so you can whiz down and give one a try when you want to. Man. I see you've stuck with that nice kind of engraved. Yeah. We have a new thing.
Yeah,
though.
it's my It's the logo from the White Eyes in the Dark logo, which is sort of my newest iteration on the guitar.
Are you going to do solo stuff, or how are you going to fit it all in now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have a new album that's going to come out in New Year, and I'm about to put this record out under the band name Harrison Johnston, which I wrote with Gavin Harrison.
Cool.
That'll be out August 1st. So I've always loved almost writing music more than sometimes playing guitar. That's my passion. So I'm constantly working at stuff and trying to grow and develop new harmony and open my ears up. So that will never change. And there's enough hours in the day, and there's so much downtime on these tours where I have my little MacBook and an interface. I can just sit there and write all day.
This really, again, I know you won't take this, I don't mean it in any way negatively, but you are going to be one of a few guitar players that I can think of who potentially has one gig where 50,000 people will be in the audience, and another gig
Where 50 people might show up.
Well, it'll be more than 50, but but you'll have one gig where probably you're taking your kit in and you're setting up, and and it's a personal.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm trying to think whether I should say the name of the person. Now, I don't think they'll hugely mind. So I remember asking a similar question to Chris Shiflett, who obviously was doing his solo stuff, and then obviously and he was pretty much like, it's all fun, it's all right. It's like it didn't sort of seem to sit awkwardly with him at all. So totally. I guess you're just feeling it's like, it just doesn't matter, right?
That doesn't matter at all. I mean, I've played gigs for the janitor. He's been the only guy there before, and I as long as I get to play
so
guitar,
come on, what is the if you've got a guitar tech and a roadie, team of roadies, unlimited budget to transport your gear from one venue to the next, versus doing it yourself, how does the gear change?
The gear is pretty much the exact same.
Really?
Yeah, it's the exact same.
Okay.
I'm using, essentially I'm plugging my my Nick Johnston guitar.
How many Nick Johnston guitars do you take to a show?
Okay, so we have 3 tunings. We do D standard, drop C, and then drop A. Mm-hmm. So I have 3 and then 3 backups. So 6 guitars.
And you got presumably a new tech, did you, in Mastodon? Did you inherit
a
tech?
He used to be the tech for, he used to be the tech for Sonic Youth and Wilco and Queens of the Stone Age, so he's just he's a bit older, but he's just...
That's my dream.
Oh.
I mean, I say dream, it's not going to happen, is it? But, as in to have like a guitar tech that can tell you, we went to see Five Finger Death Punch setting up at Wembley, and we were chatting with Andy James, and he had the same, like he had the 65-year-old guitar tech that just had all the stories. It was almost, I think I could have sat there listening to the guitar tech more than listening to Andy talking about the stories, because it was just crazy.
The whole crew is just the combined knowledge of this crew is ridiculous. The bronze drum tech used to be Lombardo from Slayer's drum tech. He works with Shania Twain and John Legend and all these big bands. So Stories for Days, Bill's tech, Stories for Days, and like he's just this he's just well of
What's his name?
Knowledge.
Your tech?
Eric is his name. Eric Becht is his name. Yeah, he's great guy.
Here's a shout out to all the unsung hero guitar techs out here.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual gear, usually it's just a guitar. I plug now. I have a little pedal board of a few Boss pedals, which is kind of fun because those are the same pedals I used to use when I was like 17, 18, 19. They worked then and they work now. I use the Waza stuff, so it's a little different. And I'm plugging into a Friedman BE 100, like the deluxe one, which is just ridiculous. But when I was younger, I had a Friedman, the BE, so it's essentially the same gear. And there's nothing special going on. There's no secret pedals. There's no secret microphones. It's just a 57, and just goes out to the front.
Using the overdrive channels in the BE100, or
I use the boost channel if I want the leads, but I usually have I'm just running into a blues driver. Usually I'll have something on just to give me like that. It's a lot of gain, but Mastodon's usually heavier than this. So I need something more, So I'll have just a little sweetener.
We're using the
Dirty
Shirley, Little Shirley, little twit thingy, that one.
Sibling.
The blue one, the little sister.
Younger sibling.
Or something like that, which is the kind of, it's one of my favourite Friedmans. It's absolutely, it's that sort of kind of JTM, a little bit more. But yeah, with an overdrive pedal in front of it. Although that does feel like a much more Nick Johnston thing than a Mastodon thing.
Yeah, totally.
But we say that your Mastodon rig isn't, it's still much more simplistic. I'm so used to now guitar players talking about their digital setup and text or via MIDI or time clock or whatever, all the patch changes happening and pitch shifting and
none
blah.
of that. That's so complicated.
It's just, so if you want overdrive, you walk over and you go...
Yeah, I use the DS1 as sort of the.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a DS1 or my old love, my true love of a pet was the SD1. I think I originally bought one for $20 off of a friend, and it's the Waza one, so it has that one switch on it. I don't really know what it does, but it sounds, I think, a little bassier or something. That's all I need. I grew up with one guitar, a Squier Bullet, into a Fender Frontman 15R because it had the reverb, and it had paint all over because I bought it used, and no pedals. It was just, can I make? And I didn't know any better at the time. I was 14. It was 2001. It's like, can I make this sound good? And that's what I used for like a couple of years. That was my.
Here is your challenge. By only playing with the controls on the guitar and the controls on the pedal, could you do something recognizably Mastodon and then something recognizably Nick Johnston?
I'd probably have to retune this to like, way down and redo the strings, but...
What if we let you off the tuning and we just say we accept that it's going to be higher pitched than...
Well, if I went, let's just see, I can... If it was, let's see here. Which is the Mother Lode, which is one of their big songs. Whereas me, I mean, just straight up playing like. I mean, yeah, you can neck, bridge, how hard you're hitting, where the volume knob is. It's all there. It's all there. But that's a blues driver too. I think.
Great pedal.
I gotta get one of those actually.
Absolutely love all those little microtonal.
Oh, those little weird.
And you bring them into your playing, I think, with much more intention than like I'll typically, if I'm doing one, it's almost like a subconscious. It's just a transition from one note to the next, but it's nice. So it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I think you build yours in with more intent. Like it's almost like it's meant to be there. It's part of the phrase.
I've spent a lot of time working on just silly stuff, like if you're in A minor. A lot of times, the blue note with that. I'll usually grab it in sort of an unconventional place, like I'll go instead of, so I can get this like that kind of replacement thing. I really spent time trying to hone that. I'm not a very good alternate picker because I'm left-handed. So I find just leaning into my left hand and a little bit more the strength I have, I can almost get a little more vocal. A lot of the guys I liked, Jeff Beck and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and taking those sort of like traditional sensibilities and over my really formative years, getting into guys like Guthrie Govan at the time, and even Yngwie and Joe Satriani, and trying to kind of combine that in a way that made sense for me on a Strat style guitar too. It was very attractive, and I was trying to do that little, those little like, very vocal. Like Chris Buck's really good at that stuff now. Yes. He's one of the, shout out to Chris Buck, he's a good dude. But yeah, I've always liked that more kind of vocal thing, and sometimes for me that's a little bit more exciting than doing a 3-note per string run. I'm not very good at that. Paul Gilbert's the best at that, so I won't attempt it. But even stuff like, I've always loved the same note on 2 strings, like. Those kind of things. This is very like faux delay.
Country-ish, that.
Yeah. That kind of thing. Just using the slipperiness, I suppose. It's kind of silly, and my middle finger takes over instead of picking. But I suppose the technique developed as it did because I was playing the same guitar in the same amp for so long that I always knew that was my home base. I think it felt very comfortable, so my hands sort of developed around a Strat style guitar, and I play, I'll pick up somebody else's guitar like a Les Paul or a PRS or something, it sounds good and it's really fun to play, but it's kind of like I'm wearing somebody else's shoes or something. It's like, these feel much better. You know, it's home at this point.
Yeah.
And my technique is reflective of that, I think. So yeah, I mean, these guitars are just sort of continuing that on, and if you have enjoyed these guitars, it's a step up in a lot of ways.
But when you said something over lunch, which I thought was kind of cool, there have been inevitable conversations between you and Bill about, you know, you want to try this, you know, try this V or this. He's got a couple of unusual. What is he? This is Sparrowhawk. This is ESP. All that kind of stuff. But you're just like, I'm good.
Yeah,
this does everything I need it to do.
All. Yeah, it does everything. I mean, it has been 10 years of sort of refining the guitar slowly. Not that I ever have any like big changes, and I'm sure Schecter would tell you I have no changes, but just, you know, over time, just like, oh, I'll try this pickup, or let's try that wood, or whatever. But ultimately, it's just keeping it simple. And my rig is absolutely reflective of that. I think for me, it was always, can I just go out and, because I did the clinics for so long, can I just go out and entertain the crowd, just me and a guitar. It was always fly dates, like just run and gun. I have no amp. I can't bring a pedal board with me. It's just, can I go and play? And I swear, after enough time, it's all in here. And it's cliche, but it is. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. You know, it's all in here. So
it is
my
slightly soul destroying and disheartening for mortal guitar players like myself.
Mortal guitar. You're a great guitar player, man. You're a great. But
you are. That's the. Look, you know, I work in an industry, as do the Schecter guys and everything, like, you know, where, most of our customers are buying the new pedal or the new amplifier and everything, because it's kind of like it's an excuse to not really practice and this hope that you'll get a bit better because you've got this new piece of gear.
That's exciting.
You know, and the reality is, you know, there's a video on YouTube. You can find Joe Satriani playing Surfing with the Alien on a Squier Strat and a 15-watt amplifier, and it sounds like Joe Satriani playing Surfing with the Alien, and it's a bit like,
incredible.
Damn it, that is basically how you get good. You just have to be good. But please, do keep still buying pedals and guitars and amplifiers, because you will get there eventually if you just find the right next purchase.
Absolutely. You know, and I do think the journey is that full circle thing. Sometimes having these cool pedals to try stuff, and, you know, using an earthquaker device to get like a weird sound. You can't get that anywhere else. But ultimately, when I go up and play guitar or get on stage or record an album or something, it ends up being more or less a guitar into an amp, and I get excited by that, and all my favorite guitar players were pretty much doing that too. And
isn't that weird though? What are we into the electric guitar journey now? 80 years?
Yeah,
coming up for 80 years like that, and it's still, there's a draw back to, you know, styles that were there in day one, styles of amplifier that were there in day one, simple pedals that were not quite day one but day two, you know. And there's a draw, isn't there, of just like, it's a very, don't know, is it a sort of a, did they just get things right in the first place, or is there just some sort of weird, it's a familiarity, so much good music was written on this stuff and we're drawn back to it.
All of this stuff, there was so much room for innovation back then, and I think the original creators, just, there was such brilliant minds with electronics and woodworking and developing these sounds. I've always preferred more straightforward, so I really, for me, I mean, there's guitar players that they go totally different path, but just the way I play.
I'm just sorry, we're going right back to the Sabbath thing again now. Did you manage to like run on stage and see, like, you know, what was Tony Iommi's pedals and what Kurt using? And
I think all he had, when I watched his tech sound checking, and then when he put his guitar on, I think he wasn't using a wireless, because I don't think he cares. I think he was just plugging his guitar. I could be wrong, but I think it was just straight into the amp.
Into a lane,
yeah. I think that's all it was. 10. And it sounded, when he did, you know, like War Pigs, he does that little, that's the sound. That's the sound. And as far as I could tell, there weren't too many complicated rigs. I saw everybody's stuff set up. A lot of Marshalls, a lot of like Plexi. One guy was using Supros. Like, there's just cool amps, like just really cool, interesting amps. A few pedal boards here.
I think there was one guy there using Victory, wasn't there? Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, I think his name was Bill Kelleher, was using Victory amps.
That's right, I knew it was someone.
On Villa Park. At Villa Park. The most complicated pedal board I saw.
Quickly shoe on that one.
That's right. The most complicated pedal board I saw was one of the keyboard players had a
really?
pedal board under his
Cool.
rig. It was just this like 2 stacked, with all these interesting gadgets.
I'm amazed how many keyboard players are using pedals.
Yeah,
like, especially if they've got like old sort of Hammond organ type things and they want to run it. Oh,
a lot of Strymon and a lot of these weird distortion pedals, and it's great, man. It's cool to see everybody's approach to Sabbath. Like. We're kind of just playing.
Is this going to be? Are we going to be able to afford you in the future? Is this like? Might this be the last ever Nick Johnston Schecter thing? As like your appearance fees goes up to $25,000 or something next.
Do I have an appearance fee? I didn't even know I had one of those. I think it was lunch, wasn't it?
Man.
Dude,
you are always welcome.
You're the best.
I will always buy. I'll buy you dessert as well next time. That'll be like you've made it the next level up there. Look, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you guys too.
Amazing timing. I'm so pleased we got to see you after that while everything's fresh in the memories. Where you did a brilliant job of telling us all about it.
Yeah,
it almost felt like we were sort of half there.
Totally. Go check one of these out, guys.
These are amazing. Seriously,
they're
some
now,
wonderful guitars. So yes,
you guys, I guess you have some now.
These are these. Absolutely. Yes. Right.
Thanks,
okay.
Guys.
Onwards. See you next time.
Bye.
Au revoir.